we're back in the studio. That song, Max, every time gets me going. And I know our next guest is just probably like head bobbing over in his living room or wherever he's joining us from tonight. But we are bringing in the king of cheer, everybody. The king. Not the prince, not the duke, not the earl, the king of cheer.
You know your royal family card.
And this is a guy that honestly he's on my list forever, and it's been such a weird couple of months for this guy, and I've been wanting to get him on, and he so gratefully is joining us tonight. He has more giddy up than a buck and bronco, Max, this guy.
I like it.
He's got moves like Jagger. Ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Hughes joins us tonight. Cameron Hughes, thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
You guys don't want to hear me. You don't have to hear me. It's okay.
No.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear us.
But I can see you, and you look fantastic.
Interesting.
Speaking of fantastic, look at that.
Oh,
look at that.
Look at this.
Oh, wow. Look
All
at that
dressed up for you
collection
guys.
of stuff.
The boys,
I can't hear you.
The boys in the back will fix this. They are usually pretty good at this. So you let us know, Cameron, as soon as you can hear us, and we'll get to you.
Is it because of COVID? Because should I wear a mask?
Maybe.
Like, honestly, my career's awful as it is. Nobody wants to hear me now. Nobody wants to see me cheer. Nobody wants me to dance for them. Nobody wants me to put my face on their T-shirts.
Oh,
we're going to do the first interview in the history of TV where I can't hear what you're asking, but I'll guess what you're asking.
Guess. I like it.
He's going to guess? Yeah,
so we'll do
So you want to talk about my new book?
Yes.
Okay. You want to talk about the jerseys I'm wearing?
Yes, all of it.
I'm from Ottawa. I didn't know what to wear tonight, guys. I mean, the Wild are playing.
That's
good.
Good.
Of all of it. I love it.
But we probably have a lot of Jets fans, so I got my Jets jersey up there somewhere.
It is. But now, Cameron, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
There we go.
We got her figured.
So
Technology.
you missed my great introduction of you. I was calling you a buck and bronco, and I said you were Mick Jagger, and and you missed it. But I can redo it if you want. But overall, we got you now.
Well,
so how are you?
I'm doing great. I felt it, though. I came in the end, but you didn't know I was here. So I got the nice intro. I agree with you. I need to slow down when I sign the books. But the heart and the passion was there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think it says thanks for the awesome tan. But at the same time, I don't know when I would have given you a tan.
Thanks for being awesome, man. I mean,
Maybe
how do you not get that out of me?
Come on.
Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Cameron, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, it's an exciting time for you and we're going to get into that in just a minute because, I mean, things are happening again after, let's say, a bit of a slow time in the industry. Things are happening again, so it's exciting. But Cameron, you have a book out now. It's called King of Cheer, and I just want to make sure we mention this because it's pretty cool to have a book out about yourself, I would think. How has your life changed since this bad boy has come out?
Well, what's interesting. No one's actually ever asked that specific question.
Really?
How has it changed? It's a really thoughtful question, and I'm not being a smartass. I appreciate that. A, you hear from people you haven't heard from in a long time. B, you hear from different people in different industries that are like, hey, I read your book. I saw you at an event. Would you be interested in this opportunity? Like things that you never thought were going to ever happen. Some cool, whether it's a cool speaking event or marketing event, or would you like to invite you to this event or party. But ultimately, guys, I think for me, it's like this great, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. I'm not saying I'm retiring. I'm not saying I'm done. But it's a great way to have that chapter of my life kind of like, in print to share with people and just be open and vulnerable about it all right now. And in a way, not care as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's kind of here.
Yeah.
Here it is.
So,
you know what I mean?
So Cameron, for the viewers out here who might not know exactly what you do, I mean, if you look at the picture on the cover of his book, he's yelling at people.
Hell of a cover.
He yells at people. Cameron, can you kind of explain what you do?
I don't know if I can. I mean, I go in the crowd, I stand up, I wear a jersey from the team. Like, let's say tonight, the Wild are opening against the Jets, okay? Under 14 minutes, I'll be in the crowd, fans will be in the crowd, there'll be some people who go to the bathroom, get their beers, and then the Jumbotron, it'll be me, and I'm like, oh, there I am, and I jump up, and I start to dance. I rip off a party shirt, I throw on the Wild jersey, and I take the T-shirts, and I twirl the T-shirts, and get the crowd going. And, ultimately, for me, it's like, I think, why do they bring me in? Which is, in my book, it's like to be that extra spark. If you're losing in Montreal tonight, at least we have fun, right?
Ooh, yes. Yeah, Montreal needs a spark, Cameron. You need to get in touch with Marc Bergevin and get you out to Montreal.
Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah, I got a story about every team. So I did the Montreal Canadiens once, like forever ago. They're playing the Leafs, and I ran into a lot of friends who used to be Leaf fans, and they were pissed off at me, but that's besides the point. They lose, and they never bring me back.
Oh, so they blamed it on you?
Well, Montreal is very superstitious, as you probably know, with their hockey history, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Max, I think you had one you want to get into.
Well,
here.
you know what, Cameron? I was going to save this a little bit for later in the interview, but we just talk about superstitious, right? And I mean, we know that obviously players, professional athletes, they might not be completely superstitious, but maybe a little stitious with their game day routines. I want to know what, from a performer standpoint, from your art, is there a specific Cameron Hughes King of Cheer game day routine that you abide by?
You know, there didn't used to be. I was just kind of all over the place. And then I realized, like, I need to save my energy. So if the team wants me to come meet, or if anyone wants to meet between, like, 3:30 and 5, I'm like, no, I have meetings during then, which is really another way of saying I'm taking a nap.
Yeah.
You know, and it's fair, though. You know, you have to conserve your energy. You know, I do this thing where I'll never forget this because, you know, Saskatchewan roots that I have. I'm in SaskTel Center doing the World Juniors, and I would run around the lower part of the arena, and everyone would be like, what's he doing? And it was part of my warm-up routine. And I knew people were watching, and I didn't care. So I'd stretch, and I'd do weird, like, mirror stuff, and they're like, oh, my God. So, I mean, I do anything to get myself truly in the right state, because you're putting yourself out there in front of 5,000, 20, 30, 50,000 people. So you want to be in the best, you know, state of mind possible.
For sure. And I mean, obviously it's been kind of a last strange 18, 16, whatever months that we're at now. It just kind of seems like a never ending loop. I'm sure you probably feel the same. But what has, I guess, been the adaptability like over the course of the last 16 to 18 months for you? Obviously a book release, but just in this new world that we're living in with your unique profession, what have you been kind of doing just in terms of a pivot in this strange time for yourself, Cameron?
Yeah, well, when it first kind of happened, everything got wiped out. So you had a sense of, I can't control this. So, you know, in the old days, if I would be back from a road trip and not have any gigs, I'd be kind of like, I used to call it cheer oppression, where you're like, go from the high to the low, and then you'd be like, come on, I want to get out there again. It just forced me to be creative. So I was starting to make wacky videos. I'd post them, and then companies would hire me to do Zoom crashes. Companies would hire me to come and do, like, tell stories, and I'd do school talks. I'd do, like, weird, like, videos for people, like, you know, it's your birthday, I'll do a video. I just did them, you know? But I said yes to things, which was almost everything within reason, you know? And you never knew where it would lead, and nor did I have expectations on where it should go. But it led to some really cool things happening and meeting a lot of interesting people. So, and yes, you know, and I appreciate you saying that. I hadn't finished my book, and it was a great way to say, hey, like, we didn't know when we were going to come out of this, but you better have accomplished something. And so having finished the book and launching it during the pandemic was, you know, a big victory.
Absolutely. So in the book, I know you have a lot on how you got started and all that kind of stuff in Ottawa, of course. And you did a lot of junior hockey, if I'm not mistaken. You got your, you know, cut your jib, I guess you want to call it, in junior hockey. But I've always been curious about this. Now, how has your hiring process changed throughout the years? Because I'm assuming early on, I mean, it's not a conventional industry necessarily. So, I mean, you can't just, like, you didn't have an agent probably early on, and you probably had varying rates for different places. How has it changed over the years to what you kind of deal with now?
Well, that's like, it's an interesting point, because when I first started, you know, when I first did the Senators, where's the jersey? I think I have it here. This is the jersey they paid me the first year.
Right.
And look at that, they're bringing this logo back, you know, like I got Yashin on here and Daigle. They didn't pay me the first year. And then the next year they gave me a bit of money. And then I remember saying I should get this amount per game. And a bunch of people laughed at me, and they're like, you're never going to make that. And I ended up years later coming back and being on the sidelines at a game going, I think it worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was such a cool moment, by the way. It wasn't about, look at me, I'm trying to prove you wrong. It was just more like, having value in what you do, right? I mean, ultimately. But you know, it's really been, I don't know if I dove into it enough in my book, but I think I did a bit. It's like, how do you price anything unless it's a good, you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard. So at a time before the pandemic, it was usually set in stone, not kind of really negotiable. But then it'd be like, hey, I'm going to be in Red Deer. I'll come up to Calgary or Edmonton, so I don't have to pay for flights. So things like that would work out. But also in the early days, I would just be like, yeah, what do you got?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then there's a certain point where, Singapore called me and I'm like, well, that's pretty far to go. I gave my rate and I'm like, I don't think they're going to take it. And they did, because they could see the value in it.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And you know what, Cameron? They say that obviously if you love what you do, you never truly work a day in your life. Can you say honestly, as a professional fan, that you've probably kind of achieved that statement or lived up to that statement when it comes to your profession as a whole?
I think so. Like, I would say that 100%, dude, like up until March 12th of last year.
Of course.
And it also was, look, I don't want to go through the COVID thing for all of us, but I do think a lot of us probably had a lot of victories as much as it has sucked.
Sure.
And I did the Vegas game on June 4th of this year. And I remember, like, I had a gas mask on and a hazmat suit. And that, when I look at that video, is one of the most beautiful, profound, I can probably get emotional thinking about it, videos of my career. And I'll tell you why, because it wasn't about me. All the reactions to fans were, we're back, we can connect, we can have fun again, which is why we went to sport events in the first place, right? To be part of a community, to be part of this, something bigger than all of us. So that night was like this moment where it's like, rip it off. And then now it's like, oh, shoot, put the mask back on. We'll be back after these messages, right? But yeah, I think it's a great statement. I think I've worked on working in the last year and a half, which I didn't really know how to do before, if that makes sense,
Absolutely. So you mentioned Vegas, and I wouldn't say that it's necessarily your hometown gig, but you've kind of found a bit of a niche. Vegas, they love you there.
I had to,
I mean, you were.
What a great jersey
I just
to
saw you did a feature. Was it Sports? Who did a feature with you just the other day? A video feature.
Sportsnet, yeah.
Sportsnet did a feature. So, I mean, you're kind of associated with Vegas, so to speak, now, which isn't a bad thing at all. But have you found a bit of a soft spot for Vegas in your heart, or do you find it hard now at this point in your career to stay impartial? Because you truly, in your industry, like with what you do, impartiality is probably one of the most important things, so to speak.
It's funny. I'm going to come back to your question about my book. Like, what did it do? It's like this is everything now. I've never hidden that I do this for other teams, right?
Right.
So when I did Vegas, I told the fans, I've been doing this for 20 years before we met, So had all the players, so had all the executives that came from different teams. I was upfront with them, and they kind of celebrated it with me. Like, I've been doing this, guys. Look at all the jerseys. I've been doing this before. And I wasn't hiding it. I've never hidden it. But it's so funny you say that, because I have some friends that work with the Minnesota Wild and on every level, and they have their home opener tonight. I texted 3 of them. Good luck. Can't wait to see you soon. Oilers played the other night. I texted some friends in Edmonton, Ottawa. I've built these amazing relationships with people, and the stronger those relationships, the more you care, right? The better. Like, when I go to Minnesota, they look after me so well. And when I go to Vegas, I had this crazy story when I was there recently. I had fans who I met at the games have me over for dinner, and I'm doing my laundry at their house. You know what I mean? By the way, of course, they were Canadian.
Of course, they have to be.
And you know what? I guess I just want to piggyback off of Clark's question there real quick for you there, Cameron. It's obviously tied in with Sportsnet, doing a video feature. Again, maybe a little bit of allegiance to Vegas, obviously. So can you give us any insight as to where Jack Eichel's situation is at in terms of if he's coming that way or not?
Is he going to Vegas?
You got to be our insider now, too. It's not enough to be the professional fan. You got to be the insider as well.
You've probably been to Buffalo. You probably know.
I don't know.
That is a crazy situation in itself.
You know what? I hope not. And I'll tell you why. I think they've got good chemistry if they're all healthy. And I don't think they need a guy like that, to be fair.
Sure,
I'm no hockey expert. I couldn't even make my intramural team in university. So,
Well, Jack Eichel's dealing with one of the most unique neck injuries, at least recently.
I've heard of that.
And
Yes.
now where I'm going to segue this into you is that I know for a fact that you've accumulated a few injuries in your career. It's a bit of a physically engaging job, I'd say. So Cameron, I know didn't you recently hurt your ankle not that long ago? It was a leg
What
injury.
you want to ask me is, am I icing anything on my body right now?
Currently, yes. Yeah. Are you sitting in an ice bath?
Are you
currently?
on the IL, Cameron?
Are you okay?
Exactly.
We care for you, Cameron. We want to make sure you're okay.
I mean, let's just, so I don't mind sharing this, but at the end of May, I did a game, a minor league baseball game, in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where I was, and it was pure concrete, like the oldest like stadium I've ever been to. And that night, I got on I couldn't feel my foot. My Achilles was smashed.
Ooh.
And 4 days later, I had to perform in Vegas. And the trainer for the Golden Knights taped my ankles and my Achilles. And he's like, "You'll be okay. Don't worry."
You're a playoff warrior. See, that's what the hockey players all battle through, punctured lungs and everything. Same boat for you, I guess you could say. What are some of the crazy injuries you've gotten, though, over your...
there's two that pop in. Well, there's three that pop into my mind. I'll tell you as quickly as possible. ECHL finals, South Carolina. I get up and perform. I fall down the stairs. The 10,000 people think it's part of the act, and I'm like, "Shit, guys, I can't get up."
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh no,
Yeah,
my ankle. It's broken.
As a dumbass Canadian, I'm like, not only did I want to get my paycheck, I didn't even think about the paycheck. I was like, I got to come out for the third period. So the trainer tapes my ankle with like ice like this, and I'm on crutches. I'm getting the wave going, and I'm in the Zamboni tunnel getting the fans going. And then I came back 3 days later, which was so stupid, but whatever. They won. San Jose All-Star Game, 1996. I was about to pass out in the lobby of the hotel. Janet Gretzky saw me, called an ambulance.
Wow.
Next thing I know, I'm on the way to the hospital because I was dehydrated. And then the third one, which was pretty funny too, was I sprained MCL right in front of Mark Cuban. I fell in front of him in the NBA Finals. It was New Orleans against Dallas. And I didn't know I'd hurt myself, and I still feel that knee. That was a dumb one.
Wow, that is something else. A couple of name drops there too. Nice, good name. That's great name drops.
Janet Gretzky,
and Mark Cuban.
She's married to somebody that we probably know.
Yeah, somebody.
Are we segueing into the 2002 story?
Oh yes, we are. Yes.
So crazy. You asked me about 2002 when I was at the Olympics, and I was performing, and then the Salt Lake City organizing committee asked me to stop cheering for Canada, and they didn't want me to come to the final gold medal game until my friend from 1996, Janet Gretzky, saw me at the hotel and said, "Hey, I'll see you tomorrow." And I go, "Actually, Janet, they banned me." And she's like, "That's BS. I'll call Wayne." The next morning, I roll down. We get on a bus, and the Gretzky family took me to the gold medal game. She gave me the ticket, said, "Cheer hard for Canada. Good luck."
She said, "That's BS. Here, have a bottle of water. I don't want you to pass out again, Cameron." That's what she said to you.
She actually said, "Thank you for giving my kids T-shirts at every game. Why don't you come with us now?"
Well, there you go. That's perfect.
That's fantastic.
That's perfect. So, Cameron, you've done a few cool events. You just said that the Olympics. You've been overseas. What is on a bucket list for Cameron Hughes at this point? Like, there's got to be something you haven't been to yet that you're dying to get to.
There's the first one would be a Super Bowl, because I could prove to a lot of people that said I couldn't do it that I could definitely do it with the right setup where they set me up in the crowd. But doing that at a huge stadium would be incredible. I want to go to like Spain or a country in like Africa or somewhere where they don't, like, just so out of left field that this would ever happen, where maybe I don't know their language, like a baseball game in Japan. That would be like awesome.
Yeah, Japan, Korea, they all have like crazy games too, from what I've seen. Like, it's crazy there.
Electric atmospheres.
Yeah.
I'm going over to Singapore. Well, I've been to Singapore to do the rugby, but it's very, it's English there. But the fans are from all around the world. So that was like that, and I've done hockey and rugby in Europe, which was different. But I want to go like next level where they actually probably couldn't understand me other than the physical aspect of, getting the crowd going.
Dancing and crowd pumping up is a universal language, I would say, Cameron. Director Jordan, can you
get a date at a bar? Let's be honest, right?
Exactly. Director Jordan, can you go back to Cameron's full shot here for a sec? We have a question from a viewer, Cameron. Robin in Prince Albert asks, "Is that a Cardiff Devils jersey over your shoulder on the wall?"
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Look at that. Robin's picking out the Cardiff Devils.
Good eye.
Look at this one too. Hold on.
Oh yeah, bring it up.
Look at this one. Belfast Giants.
Belfast Giants. There it is. So, do you have any stories of the British Hockey League that you can tell us?
Well, when I first went to Belfast, the guy with the GM was the GM of the from Calgary, and he'd heard about me or seen me or something. And there were like bomb threats and bombings going off in Belfast at the time, not at like the level it used to be. But I landed, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing here? But the color of the jersey is teal, so it's neutral. So the whole idea behind the Belfast Giants was to have fans of every religion and background come together. So the game ended up being fun and got to know the players and stuff. And then I went to Cardiff and got to know them. I'm leading to this story where the EIHL finals weekend is where the 8 teams go and all the fans come. It's this pretty cool concept where fans, no matter what, even if your team isn't that good or in the playoffs, they come and they celebrate it. Well, word got out that I was coming, and it was the tagline was North American atmosphere creator coming to EHL finals. Like, it was like all wrong, right? It should never have been a story. Well, Twitter canceled me.
Oh, no.
They're like, we don't want that idiot coming over here. We don't need a North American coming here to tell us to have fun. We have a great atmosphere. It went on. I got death threats. If he comes near us, we're going to throw him over the ledge. Long story short, I didn't go.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I feel like British death threats are on another level for some reason, or like Scottish, or like,
Well, we've all seen Peaky Blinders.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
that's what I mean. Like,
it's
it's a different level over there.
Well, when you see like a couple of those texts, like I some of them are in the book and they're pretty funny. But then there was a lot of positive from the Cardiff and Belfast fans. But it was pretty like, it was the first time in my career, other than getting a few death threats from New Jersey Devils fans, but whatever, where I'd had that kind of negative reaction. I hadn't even performed yet.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, you guys know this, but like, if I'm doing a game tomorrow for Vegas or Cardiff or Halifax, Minnesota, Victoria, wherever it is, they never promote that I'm going to be there. I just get up and do it, right? I think that's why it works.
Well, that's kind of part of it too. Like you're some unsuspecting person in the crowd, and
It's the spontaneity
I'm
of it,
gonna
absolutely.
It's so good.
Yeah, and you know what, Cameron? Obviously, we've had some fun with your jersey wall tonight, and I guess this is my question. Obviously, with all of the accolades,
called the Brandon Wheat Kings, by the way.
Brandon Wheat Kings,
that's a good one.
There it is.
I like that jersey.
Kelly McCrimmon
I'm
must.
going there soon, by the way.
Oh yeah,
perfect.
The Kelly McCrimmon ties are still strong with you, hey?
Oh yeah, Kelly. I'm paying for his next holiday.
When it comes to your jersey wall there, Cameron, I guess obviously a man that's been to as many arenas as you've been, I guess sports memorabilia in general, because I'm a bit of a mem nut. Do you have a piece or maybe a couple of pieces that you've added to your collection throughout the years that maybe have a standout memory associated with them that would be the one? Outside of a ticket from Janet Gretzky to 2002.
Right.
Or I don't know about actual jersey, but I'll show you something.
Mm-hmm.
This is my demo tape.
Oh, no way.
That's
When does that get released?
The date from Guy, demo reel, length 1 minute. If I told you guys the date, you'll fall out of your chairs.
It's pretty hard to fall out of.
July 6, 1996.
1996.
Wow.
I was going to say it's pretty hard to fall out of these chairs. They're pretty secure.
That's incredible, though.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, this is like, I can't wait. I think I know what's in here, but I mean, I got to get that done. But to answer your question, I mean, and I'll just go there. I'll be like, it's like I look at the wall and I look at like Stockton Thunder, Red Deer Rebels, Arizona Sundogs, Wenatchee, the Roadrunners. Every jersey I look at, like, not everyone right away, but like there's a memory that comes back. The Idaho Steelheads, I ripped my jeans open and had to duct tape them so I could finish the game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what this team. Oh, this one.
Oh yeah.
What are they? The Phoenix Roadrunners. there's always like there's just a story behind it. Like Minnesota Wild, I'll tell you a quick story because they're playing tonight.
Yeah.
I do a game there 7 years ago, I think it was 6 or 7. They brought me in, and like a lot of teams, they're not sure at first how it's going to work, right? And I get that. Your fans' reaction, the game, the score might be minus 100 out. You never know, right? All those elements. So I do the game in Minnesota. I go to the bar after, next to XL Energy. I'm talking to a bunch of executives, and they're critiquing like, "Oh, we thought you were great tonight. It was a lot of fun to have you." And then a couple of people shuffle around. I'm talking to this guy, and he's like telling me what he thought of my performance and my timing. And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." I'm like, "Are you involved in the team?" He's like, "Yeah, I work with the team." I'm like, "Oh, how?" And he's like, "Oh, I own it."
Oh, wow.
Right. Oh, hey.
So were you critiquing him of his ownership skills?
Craig
Yeah,
Leopold
exactly.
from the Nashville Predators, formerly anyways.
Right, yeah.
So I know the tie-in there.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
You're like, yeah, maybe
So-
you should own the team better next time too if he was critiquing you.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Hey, now, he's a wonderful owner. But
Oh,
anyhow,
exactly.
like, just all these different stories come to life for me when Royals and, I don't know, Buffalo Sabres, speaking of which.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's an iconic one.
Seymour Knox called me after the scoreboard fell in Buffalo, and I was doing the Leafs at the time. He was at a game, and he saw me, and he called me. I'm living in a buddy's house. I get out of the shower. He goes, "Seymour Knox called." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "No, seriously." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I told him to trade LaFontaine." I'm like, "Oh, no, tell me you didn't."
Oh, my gosh.
I called Seymour Knox back the 4th. They owned the team. He was, I don't know, I guess he had nothing else to do. Nicest guy in the world. And he sends me to Buffalo to do a game because the Marine Midland scoreboard had fallen. And I ended up doing 10 games in a row, and they won 10 in a row.
Well, there you go.
That's
you need to go back.
unbelievable.
So, that's a hell of a long answer, though, isn't it?
Nothing wrong with that, Cameron. It's been incredible.
Robin from Prince Albert says, well, your bucket list now has to include a Prince Albert Raiders playoff game at the Art Hauser Center in Prince Albert. How have you never been to the Art Hauser in Prince Albert?
Well, to be fair, I talked to them this week, which is so funny you mentioned that because I
Look
told
at
you,
that.
Clark, that I was looking to do this big Canadian tour. But let me ask you guys this while we're on this topic. What do you think of me still doing my shtick with a mask on? Does it matter at this point?
Is it going to be a designer mask or is it going to be like a hospital mask? Because I think there's a difference.
I was going to say.
Yeah, if you have like the
Designer.
team branded mask, I think that'd be totally fine.
Brandon logo on.
I think there'd be nothing wrong with
You
that.
know what you
personally. I
could
think
do?
you'd be one of the fans.
One of the
right?
fans. You know what you could do though, Cameron? You could get one of those masks with your own face designed on it with a big wide open mouth so that it looks like you're still making the same. Yeah, exactly. Just get your face printed on just your mouth.
Exactly.
And then you're good to go.
Less work for the
That's
face, too. The
serious
jaw's probably...
you know what you could do, Cameron? Now, here's an idea.
we're turning this into a marketing meeting, by the way.
royalty free.
This is where we're at.
I don't need any checks from this. Have a hospital mask, like an N95 or whatever they call them, over top of the mask that has your face printed on it, and rip off the masks just like you rip off the shirts.
Done. Sold.
Boom.
I don't know. I feel pretty
Well,
good about it.
Get him in production.
Because there's been a lot of teams that want to have me, but they're like, "Well, we'll wait for the mask thing to go." And I'm like, you know what? I'm at the point now where I just want to come and get the fans having a little more fun. Because I've been watching the games, especially in Canada, and let's be fair, and I'm not going to rip into Canadian fans unless you ask me to. Like, I get it. Like, it's not easy. It's not fun to be like sitting there watching a game, but they were kind of like that before. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Without a
Absolutely.
doubt.
Yeah. I know the Leafs fans the other night got ripped at their home opener for being a little bit on the quiet side, and I'm like, yeah, well, were they
That's a
really that loud
reputation
before?
that's fairly
Were they
earned.
really that loud before? Only when Cameron was at the games.
NHL fan base, and in your opinion.
Ooh, that's a great question.
One of the Alberta teams. Well, Montreal. Montreal's pretty nuts, but they stopped inviting Cameron, so therefore I'm not.
The best fan. I don't know, man. And again, this not to say this to lead into the bias, but
let me say this. When I say best, I mean we could argue like who buys the most jerseys and supported the team. I'm talking about shows up and supports their team when that clock hits 1959.
your boys,
To the end.
Vegas.
Well, he said
with
Canadian
the-
teams,
Oh,
man.
Canadian teams.
That's-
Sorry.
I was going to
Oh.
say Edmonton.
Yeah, in that new building there. Yeah, I'd say.
And I'm a Leafs fan saying that. I'm going to say Edmonton.
Rogers is pretty good.
But Winnipeg's pretty nuts.
Winnipeg is a nice, intimate environment as well, too. That's right. 14,500 fans in there. Yeah, Winnipeg is up there.
Probably
Winnipeg's
those two.
up there for
I would say
diehard.
Calgary's there, too, probably. You know, the Western Canadian guys, we like to support our boys.
If we're going to pick one, Winnipeg.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
There you go.
I'll answer that when my career's done.
Perfect. Yeah. You have to wait until all the jobs are done.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Cameron, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Guys.
Well, somebody did say, quick, get a VCR. We got to see this tape. So maybe that's the next time you come on. We can set up a little rolling TV VCR.
Clark, you want to do a book giveaway, like a contest for your viewers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. How do we want to do it? Follow you on Twitter?
We could do something like, I don't know, like name a team, name 3 NHL teams I haven't performed with, or the one Canadian team I haven't performed with.
One Canadian team you haven't.
The one Canadian team in the NHL and the one province I've never performed in.
One province. So I feel like there's only a couple of teams with one province because I feel like you've been to a few places.
You're not in it to win the book, though.
I'm helping the viewers. Okay, this is good. So we got to get our viewers comment in right now. What's the one Canadian team and province that Cameron has not performed in? We'll get the viewers commenting in. Oh, there's two separate answers. Okay, two separate answers. Got it. We'll wait for the comments to come in. Cameron, where can everybody follow you and get your book and support you on your journey to your bucket list of getting to Prince Albert?
You send me. You know what's crazy though, guys? I'll just say I don't know how much time we have, and I don't really care anymore. So, no, I love coming to the small towns in Canada. I'm a Canadian boy. My grandfather was shipped to Middle Saskatchewan when he was 14. I love coming to Canadian towns. I'm so glad to be living in Canada again. So I can't wait to see you, Prince Albert. CameronHughes.tv or at Cameron Cheers.
Okay, we got one answer. Chad Isaac says, the province you haven't performed in, I feel like I know this is wrong. Saskatchewan. That's not right? You've performed here lots of times.
Probably top 7 of all time.
Yeah. Top 7. And he said that you haven't performed for the Flames.
Let me think about that. No, but I got a good Jerome McGinless story.
Oh,
no, I performed to the Flames a lot.
So the other guess that I was thinking of is, have you performed for the Jets? They're kind of a newer team.
You know what? I did do a game there. They have Project 11, which is a big charity initiative they have. I'm actually going to be going back there this year, and I danced with Dancing Gabe.
Oh, no way. That would have been a huge moment. That would have been an iconic moment in Winnipeg sports history.
Well, you know what's great about that moment? It wasn't planned. Like, we wanted to meet up, but it was not planned. And I don't want to plan anything. You guys, you know that. You get that with me. Just let it happen.
Myron is guessing, one of our viewers, Myron, says, you've never performed in Prince Edward Island?
Incorrect.
Oh, he has performed in Prince Edward.
That was a good guess, though.
He said the Oilers, but I know for a fact you just said a minute ago that you have performed for the Oilers.
And there's the jersey
and there's a jersey right behind him.
Lots of stuff for the Oilers. I was actually supposed to be at their home opener. I'll give you a clue. Well, no, you don't need a clue. There's 10 provinces. There's
got to be. Somebody said Vancouver, the Canucks.
Correct.
That's the team.
Okay.
And Newfoundland is his guess for provinces you've never been to.
Oh, so close.
Oh, it's not Newfoundland, but it's close.
Game. And guess what, guys? I'm actually going to perform for the Newfoundland Growlers at some point this year.
Right on.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Solid,
a good one.
crew over there in Newfoundland, the Newfoundland Growlers.
That won't get weird.
Yeah. Well, Chad Isaac is going to be your winner of your book tonight here. Chad Isaac, you'll be getting, I'll be setting up Chad. He's a good friend of our show, so I'll be setting him up with your information. We'll get that hooked up. Cameron, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You gave us lots of time. Appreciate that.
And New Brunswick, call me. New Brunswick, call me.
Well, there's bound to be a curling event or something going on.
Oh, there's got to be a spiel or two. Yeah,
got to be.
I don't know, maybe the Memorial Cup.
Why not? Is. Who knows? I have some friends out there in the Maritimes. I'll make some phone calls for you, Cameron. Thanks for joining us tonight, Cameron. Everybody, make sure you go follow everything this guy's doing. He's always a great time. Cameron, we'll chat again soon. We'll do this again.
Thanks a ton, Cameron.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
All right. That was, of course, Cameron Hughes, the king of cheer. And you know what, Max? His book matches our new logo. I'll go back to that wide shot. I was going to say
the colors,
everything matches our new logo and everything.
Potential partnership.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. It's good stuff.
So, anyways, that was Cameron. Oh man, like, what do you say?
Electric, right? Electric. I think that's one of the descriptors on one of the first pages of the book.
Right on the front of the book, actually.
Man, it's
unbelievable.
It's amazing the people that we get to connect with. It really is.
Yeah, that's one I have to settle down from because I'm jazzed up. And Chris Untriner's coming on next from RBI, and I'm going to transfer that energy to Chris, and Chris is going to get jazzed up as well. But as always, our video chats are brought to you by IKS Media, IKS Live, the best ticket in town. They can make your events top notch if you get video screens, live entertainment, video production, and a whole lot more. Just hit up IKSmedia.com. They can